Writer Sihle Khumalo's new book sees him traversing the country's highways and byways, discovering the beautiful and the bizarre. He's written 3 books about travelling through Africa, and now he's turned his eyes homeward. ENCA's Andrea van Wyk sat down with the author to talk about hitting the road in Mzansi.
Sihle, let's talk about the title of the book. Explain it to me.
Well, look, the title of the book, Rainbow Nation, My Zulu Us, is basically talks to why do I think, after traveling throughout the country and experiencing a lot of beautiful things. By the way, we live in a very beautiful country. Sometimes we underestimate how beautiful South Africa is. Notwithstanding that, we still have a few challenges, major challenges that are facing us as a country and as a nation. And based on what I experienced, what I saw, I think Rainbow Nation as a concept, as a vision, it was great. But currently where we are, we just do not have a Rainbow Nation, hence the title, Rainbow Nation, My Zulu Us.
So you've written 3 books about traveling through the rest of Africa.
Yes.
So what made you decide to turn your eyes homeward bound?
It was natural progression, I guess. I done the Cape to Cairo. I wrote a book based on that adventure. I also did Central Africa, and it was also natural once I done Cape to Cairo, which is mostly on the eastern shore of the African continent, and then Central Africa. It was only natural that I also do West Africa. And after that, I just had to do my own homeland. I had to do my very own country. And hence, I decided to take some time out and travel through Mzansi or South Africa, and this is the product of that.
It's not just a straightforward travel book, I found. It's
Sure.
very much also almost political education, if I can put it that way. So a lot of research must have gone into it.
Yes, there was a lot of research that went into it, actually, even before I did the trip, because there were certain places that I wanted to visit based on the history of the country. And one of the things, by the way, that I did was traveling throughout my very own country, is I visited certain graves of certain prominent South Africans, and that included the founder of the Zulu Nation, King Shaka, Paul Kruger's grave up here in Pretoria. I visited Steve Biko's grave up down in the Eastern Cape, to mention but a few. Saul Blackie in Kimberley I also visited. So that is part of the historical account, that is it. And also there is a lot of social and political commentary. Because I'm a South African, there's so much that I can say about this country. So it's not just about a guy traveling from point A to point B. Yes, there is that, but also I do make some certain comments on the social and political aspect as well.
And it's also about the characters that you meet, isn't it?
Yeah, what is travel without meeting people? And that is one of the things I always do when I travel. It's not just about me, you know, it's always about interacting with different people so that you get the feel of the place. And also, whilst I was traveling, it was not just on the highways and the freeways. I also take some back roads, some gravel roads, by the way. I also have to add, we also have great infrastructure from the road perspective, not just the tar roads. I'm also talking from the gravel side as well. So that is where I meet some wonderful characters on my journey throughout South Africa.
Who stood out for you?
Well, quite a number of people, but there was one guy I met when I was traveling in the Northern Cape. And by the way, because Northern Cape is massive, but the population is very small. And that is one thing that comes out clearly towards the end of the book with regards to the issue of the Khoisan community. I stated quite clearly that from where I sit, they should have been recognized, firstly, as a race, complete race, because I really think Khoisan is a race. And also their languages. If you think that we've got 11 official languages, but none of their languages, indigenous languages, made it into the official list. And the irony of that is the fact that if you look at our coat of arms, the language that is written there, a vast majority of us could never ever read what's written there because it's not part of the 11 official languages. So it's an irony. We're saying your languages are not that important. That's why they don't make it into the official list, and yet on the coat of arms we have one of those languages. So that's one guy I met, and I was driving around Kakamas and that part of the world. Just the interaction and the communication, it's just one of those places that you feel like, I wish I could have just stay here for longer and have this long conversation with this human being whom I just met on the side of the road as he was hiking all the way to Uppington.
I want to refer to this quote from the book. You say, "Now that I was in my 40s, I thought I should traverse my native land. As one song from the band Stimula said, to look, listen and decide." So let's look at the first 2 of those, to look and to listen. If you had to sum it up, What did you see and what did you hear?
Well, what I saw was a beautiful country. What I saw was great infrastructure from the road infrastructure perspective. There is a lot of poverty, inequality is high, and mostly of our inequality, as we all know, is race-based. So that is what I saw. We all know about it, but when you're traveling and now consciously looking, that is what I saw. And also when you're talking to people, is the suffering related to the inequality, the economy that is stagnating. So yes, we are okay, but things should really get better. So that is what I felt. Towards the end of the book, I talk about, yeah, we're on the right track, but we just need to put up some vuma and get this country working again.
And then that third one, what did you decide about South Africa?
Well, I think I just summed it up again there. We are on the right track, but sometimes I just feel we as a people need to gather along and move this country forward. It must be a conscious effort from all of us. We need to be more engaged on a lot of issues, and a lot of social issues. I talk about on the issue of education, on the issue of land. Now, as people, we need to be more involved instead of just leaving it to the politicians to do all the bidding for us. No, I think we should just get more involved on the issues that affect us on a day-to-day basis.
You highlight quite a few places that really touched you. Just give us an idea of some of the favorites, the ones that stand out for you.
Well, it depends. Different provinces offer different things. Limpopo, there's a place between Polokwane and Tzaneen, Makhubasklof. I fell in love with that place. In Mpumalanga, I don't have to talk about Panorama Route. It's beautiful. But one place really that I will forever ever think about is not just the eastern part of the Free State, which by the way is very stunning, but also in the Western Cape. When you go through to Paarl, then Wellington, Tulbagh, Ceres, that's very, very stunning. It's just one of those places, again, the way you get there, you just want to park the car and be there for a longer period of time. But naturally, because I am from KwaZulu-Natal, have to mention one place. It's off the beaten track. It's on the dirt road. It's from Kranskop and Silujana, and people, a vast majority of people probably have never heard of this place. So it's a dirt road, and you are driving towards Tugela Valley. So as you are driving from Kranskop, you can see the river, you can see Tugela River, but you just never seem to get there because the road is just winding down all the way towards the river. It's just one of those places. And because I was traveling in summer, everything was just green, and then you've got villages attached to the mountains, and just before Christmas people tend to add a lot of color onto their rondavels. So it's just this colorful thing that I experienced specifically between Kranskop and Tugela Valley.
What is it that you want South Africans to take away from this book?
Well, South Africans should take away the fact that we live in a beautiful country. We need to take time out to really explore our very own country. I don't think we do that too much as South Africans. It's very important that we know a lot about our country, the historical context, all these places that sometimes people from all over the world come and experience, and yet we South Africans never experience that for ourselves. So that's the first thing. We need to travel and explore our very own country. Secondly, we must be very involved in what is happening in the country. We must not leave it, as I said, we must not leave it to the politicians. That's not good enough. We need to be involved on the education of our children. If we feel that the education system is not good enough, why are we quiet about it? We need to raise such issues. That is the only way that we can move the country forward, is by us getting engaged as a society, irrespective of our political affiliations, because other things affect all of us as South Africans first. So sometimes we need to take away our political hats and just deal with issues as South Africans.
Okay. Sihle, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.